Divine Light Accelerators, and this is season 3 of Own Your Divine Light show. I'm Janet Miller, the Divine Light Activator, and I'm so happy to have you here during this pivotal time in humanity's expansion. This is a momentous time, something none of us have ever experienced before, and I feel it's so important to share our experiences. Things are shifting so fast. We are learning to be flexible, resilient, and are being given the time to do some deep learning about ourselves if we choose. We can look at this as a gift if you're healthy, and if you are recovering or have lost someone, I send out my heartfelt blessings to you. What will be the new normal we are stepping into? We will see what our guest has to say about that as well. And I have a wonderful guest, Waxela Sananda. Welcome, Waxela. So happy to have you here. And before we start, I would love to do a quick grounding with you all. So I'd like you to just feel your feet in the ground and close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and then just visualize roots of light going down your legs and flowing down through the layers of the earth and going down towards that giant crystal in the center of the earth, which I call the heart of Mother Gaia. And when you see that crystal, connect with her and become one with her. And Mother Gaia is going to now send up her beautiful crystalline light. It's going to come flowing up through those roots of light, up through the earth, up into your feet, up through your body, through your legs, your belly, into your arms, and through your chest, up into your neck and your head. And just see that energy just flow out, go right up through the crown and go connecting way up into the central sun. Connect with your central sun, who is our beautiful nurturer of our galaxy and our planet. And so now you're connected to the earth and the sky, and we are connected to all that is. And just put your hand on your heart and connect with your heart and see that beautiful heart flame just flowing around, and this beautiful golden light from your heart flame, which is your God light, your self-love light. See that flowing around and all that golden light coming into your cells and filling you with the love and the love of spirit, the love of yourself, because we are one with spirit. We're now going to be in this beautiful protective cocoon of light. It's going to surround, flow into all around you like a cocoon of light. So now we're all in this beautiful protective space, and you can now relax and open your eyes. We're all grounded and present and in this beautiful sacred space today so that we can have this amazing conversation with Waxela. And Waxela Sananda is a quantum embodiment coach, a galactic shaman, and an ascension trainer. And through the process she has an international best-selling book, The Love You Crave, A Course in Ascension, Alchemy, and Connection to the Divine. And it's a really great book, I have to tell you. Waxela's guides her clients on a transformational journey of clearing limiting beliefs and transforming stagnant energy into dynamic creative possibility. Combining her celestial starseed consciousness and shamanic training, she holds space for clients to experience the embodiment of divine frequencies. Waxela lives in Sarasota, Florida, and she travels the world speaking and offering workshops, events, and retreats. So Waxela, so excited because you've been doing so many amazing things. Your gifts are incredible that you're bringing to everyone. And I would love to, your journey has been so incredible. And I would love to, your book, I read it, and your journey through that, I was blown away. The experiences you've had were just very, very phenomenal, very deep and hugely moving. And they shifted your life completely, every step of the way. So would you like to tell us which one of those events happened that you felt was a big happening for you? What was the one that really was a turning point?
Thank you, Janet. And I loved that opening. I feel so just lit up from that.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I think there are so many different experiences I've had that I could share. Mainly in my early 20s, that's when I really began to open up to, oh, this is not just the world of imagination. This is real. And I started to really, I already had gifts activated, but I started to trust my gifts. I started to understand, okay, there are layers of reality, and we get to choose which
Mhm.
one we're in moment to moment. And the mystical world is layered right here on top of the physical world, on top of the the third density, the fifth density. You can tune in to any reality at any moment. And so what happened was I traveled with a shaman for 3 years, and I was in, I would say, deep training during that time. I had done a lot of my own training, my own working on opening up. But when I was found by the shaman and taken on this journey, I really learned so much. And it was 3 years of just powerful, intense training, opening, release work. Oh my gosh, there were some really, really hard times, and there were some really powerful awakening times during that period. So I would have to say it's not necessarily one event, and I've been
Mm.
doing this work for many, many, many years, but a series of events starting in my childhood all the way up to the present moment, and it continues. It's never We're never done, It's just, and that's the fun part. We get to keep expanding and keep growing and keep learning as we go. So I didn't give you one specific thing, but I would say in my early 20s when I really woke up to, oh wow, there's so much more available and going on than I realized before. That
Yeah.
was powerful time for me.
Yeah, that's an amazing opportunity. You had to be with your shaman, and that's in the book. So if you want to read the story about that whole thing, you've got to read her book, The Love You Crave, and it's on Amazon, guys. So take a look. So in the first chapter, it said, you said, if it doesn't scare you, you are not dreaming big enough. Let's dream big. So what caused you to start dreaming big enough to step into the work that you do?
Ooh, I will say that it's kind of like I was incubating for all those years, even when I was teaching workshops and offering classes. They were small classes, they weren't online. It was one-on-one a lot of the time, which is wonderful. It's a wonderful way to work, but I was hiding,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
there was always this thing where I didn't want to speak out about all of my, like what I really got going on, which is a lot of starseed, a lot of galactic origins. I'm communicating with higher dimensional beings. I didn't want to talk about that because I am from a small town in Iowa. I didn't want, I didn't want my parents to be like, oh my gosh, her daughter's insane.
Yep.
And I had this program that, well, I can't speak out about certain things, but it was really, I guess it was about 2 years ago when I felt my guidance just, it's as if they came up behind me and pushed me into the spotlight and said, okay, your time of hiding is up. It's now time to get out and be a teacher of all of these things you've been cultivating and we've been sharing with you for 30 years. You have to go share them with the world now. And so I was really pushed by my guidance into a bigger platform. And I can't say that was a choice that I made. It was very much the alignment of so many synchronicities, my guidance saying, okay, now's the time, the energy on the planet being right for it, and people needing guidance at this time from other people who have answers and have access to assisting them with the ascension process.
Yep, I understand that very much. I've been given that same message. Start stepping out there, Janet, and that's why I'm out here now too. Trying, you know, stop hiding. This is the big thing. And I was doing the one-on-one like you, so I am moving into new things as well, which I think is so exciting. And this is what it takes for us to get out there and to share the knowledge because we're the way showers out there to bring it to the people so that they know that, you know, people have been going through this and this, anything you're going through now, we've been through, so we can help you. This is not unfamiliar territory. Anything happening is just, you're ready. You're ready. You're ready when you're ready. Correct. So, you talk about you as an ascension guide and how do you connect to your source energy? Do you want to give us a little information about that work that you do as an ascension guide?
Yeah, absolutely. So the course that I teach is called Ascension Training, and that is really like I took everything that I've learned over the last 30 years and sort of condensed it into a 12-week program.
Mm-hmm.
Where we begin with mindset and surrender work. We get into, releasing those old programs, first becoming aware of your subconscious programming and releasing it, recoding it to a higher frequency program. And then we move into opening, into connecting through the heart with the divine and opening that column of light and allowing the ascension guides to work with you. And there's surrender in that, because so many of us we either have fears or blocks, or, many of us were psychic as children, and someone told us we were over imaginative, or we were, like, don't talk about that stuff or whatever. The world didn't support that for many of us, so we naturally came up with blocks and shut it down. And so there is a reopening of the psychic centers of the heart, and then an embodiment of these higher frequencies. And it's a process. It's not something that happens once and you're done. It's an ongoing process. So we also do breath work, meditation, activations, and a lot of things to just help us open up and receive and be present to receive. And so much of it is just being present. But I really teach, where I like to make this distinction with ascension. Ascension does not have to be going out. Like, a lot of people think of, oh, it's high, it's going up. But ascension, the way that I teach it and the way that it's to be practiced now, is coming in. It's Incention. And I teach Incention into the heart. So it's moving into the heart and viewing the heart as a portal. The heart is actually a hologram of the divine. And so when you have an activated heart and your heart is open again, you can receive the divine frequencies into the heart, and you can travel anywhere in reality. And I mean, I travel into the heart to go anywhere I want to go. If I want to interact with higher dimensional beings, I travel first through the portal of my heart, which is connected to all that is. It's connected to the divine. So when you're going in and connecting that way, you're never, your body is never unprotected, because you're in your body, you're not leaving it. You're not, going into the astral realms can be sometimes dangerous. You're not in any danger. Anything that you encounter is part of yourself, your heart energy. So if you encounter a demon, as people do in shamanic work sometimes, it's part of your heart. So you can look it in the eye and say, what are you here to show me? What are you here to share with me? And that's part of the surrender. Like, I'm willing to surrender my fear in this moment and confront with an ego death, which is what we do in shamanic work. A lot of times the ego comes up and it's threatened, and we think we're going to die. Well, there actually is no death. But when you're traveling into your heart and you're confronted by one of your dark programs, your shadow work programs, it can look very scary. It can feel scary. Not everybody's visual. Some people are feelers or knowers, or, like, there are lots of different ways to have this experience. You might hear it. But when you're confronted with that, there must be a willingness to look it in the eye and, excuse me, make peace with it and accept those parts of ourselves that we have discarded, that we have cast off. A lot of times those are your gifts coming back in strange packaging and saying, are you ready now? Are you ready to receive me in non-judgment? Are you ready to bring me back home to your heart? And if you are ready to confront those demons, doing the shadow work and releasing, and accept with non-judgment in the way something presents itself, then you can integrate your gifts again and open up to receive more. And it is a constant, for me, it continues daily, day by day. There's another opening. There's another opening. There's always another opening available. And surrender is my greatest ally in this. So for instance, when I have a higher dimensional being come to me in my dream time, which so often it does happen while I'm sleeping or in a lucid dream or a meditative state. But when I'm in a deep state and a being comes to me, I have to surrender my resistance. A lot of times they look scary, or scary is a judgment. You know, a lot of times they look different, and sometimes they can be startling. But I have to be willing in that moment to say, it doesn't matter what they look like. How do they feel? You know, what is the feeling that I'm getting from them? Are they here to help me? And if you can project love, and this is a practice, you can't go from fear to love immediately. So it's something you have to practice. But a wonderful teacher taught me many, many years ago that anything that shows up, if you project love toward it, it'll do, there are one of two things. Number one, it might be uncomfortable in a love space. If it's not of love, it will leave because it won't like that. And if it is of love, it will connect to that love and return it, oftentimes magnified. And that's a lovely experience. So this is what I learned to practice. And like, you know, I was not able to do that immediately. I had to practice it in my waking time when nothing was there to scare me, to be able to get to the point of not being afraid of what shows up. And then when I was able to not be afraid, I was able to go into love eventually. And that has been an ongoing practice for me ever since, because there's nothing that will take you out of a mystical experience like fear. When you get into fear and your adrenaline kicks in, you're pulled out. So you have to practice love, practice being in the heart, practice knowing that everything that shows up is for you to learn, for you to share, for you to gain knowledge or get a lesson or be activated to some level, for you to open up and receive. And then, you know, the more you're able to practice and open up and receive and allow, the more opening happens, and it's just this unfolding experience. And that is, in my opinion, the ascension process.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to explain ascension. Yeah, I mean, going the Incention, I've heard that word now, and the way you explained it is really very clear, because I think of it as going into higher consciousness, but yet you're going into your heart. And I always talk about living from the heart, and the way you've put it now, to connect with love that way, which I do that too. But yet the way you say, when things come into you and you may not feel, you've got to feel it. And that's what I've been teaching people myself, is start feeling it. But yet when you said something's fearful, check it, which I like the part of projecting the love out and allowing them to make if they're not of love, they're going to leave, which is true. You know, they'll go. And I've always, when I've had any of those experiences and they've come in, and I'll say, well, if you're not of the highest light, you're not welcome here. And then they go, if they're meant to go, you know, and they usually do, thank goodness. But it is an unusual experience. I haven't had as many as you, but I've had a few. And it's a learning process, and to get out of the fear. I mean, then you get open to so many more things. Like you said, you get so open to the newer experiences, and your world just deepens, because we're so much more than we know. I mean, we have so much more that we know. So yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful teaching. I love that. So
can I share something about
yeah,
that?
go ahead. Yeah.
So we have, our bodies are multidimensional tools. They are a divine light technology. And so the more embodied that we are, that means the more we are in our body, the more we bring our essence, our divine connection into the body, all the way to the root, the root chakra, the base of the spine. The more we're in the body, the more access we have to multidimensional experiences through the body. So you can be awake and walking around and interacting with higher dimensions of reality by being embodied, because our bodies are a multidimensional technology. And the more light, the more ascended frequencies we're able to hold in the body, the more we're able to interact with the mystical right here, the here and now. We don't have to go out anywhere. We don't even
No.
have to be in meditation, and we can experience that right here. And it starts with the heart and expanding into love and gratitude. And you said something about when, when something would show up that might frighten you, and you say, if you're not of the highest light, then go. And I started there as well. But I would now upgrade that to knowing that when you're in your heart,
Yes.
everything is you. Everything is of the divine at some
Mm.
level. Certainly there are lower frequencies. So if you can go into non-judgment heart space and see that, okay, maybe it is a lower frequency being. Sometimes those lower frequency beings are coming to look for a way to get to the light. And they do
Mm.
come to light workers. They do come to people with higher frequencies, because subconsciously, they might not know this consciously, but subconsciously they are looking for a way to get to the light. So when those things come, if you can get into non-judgment and offer them a portal into the light,
Mm.
you can tell them, you know what, if you know that they're a lower frequency
Mm-hmm.
energy, you can say, there is light for you and you will not be judged. And this is the thing, they are so used to being judged. They might be soul fragments
Yes.
that, that were indoctrinated into religion that was judgmental or something like that. We don't know where these essences have come from, but they're all part of us. They're those lower frequency parts of self in a multidimensional way that
Yes.
are looking to be loved again. They're looking to be
Mm.
accepted. They're looking to find a better way. I mean, and I think of them like, you could think of, if you meet a little injured animal in the forest and you go to help it, all you want to do is help it. It's going to lash out at you because it's scared of you. It's going to, it might be in pain. It's not going to be nice to you, even though you're there to help it. So that might be the same with these lower frequency beings that come through. They might just be coming through, needing help, but not knowing how to ask for it. They only know how to be angry and lash out. So if you can get into love and hold that love space for them and tell them, you will not be judged, you can go to the light and
Mm.
you can cross them over. And this is something I
Yes.
added to my free
Mm-hmm.
gift. So I made a recording, an audio that you listen to on headphones, and it's releasing of the attachments, the lower frequency beings, so you can help them cross over in non-judgment. And once you've listened to it a few times, then you know how to do it. So I just want to
That's
throw that in
perfect.
there.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and that's a great clarification. And I love what you just said, because I do, like, I light a candle when I know there's something around. I light a candle and I do talk to them and say, I go, I'm here to help you cross over into the light. I do that. I do some of that. So just, and staying in the heart, that's the key. That is the key. So that's absolutely right. And that's a great reminder. And for those who never heard that, this is so wonderful. And especially right now with what we're going through with this time of stillness and this presence, where we're being shown how to be very present in our bodies, how to be still, how to quiet down and allow, to feel things more than we've allowed before. I mean, we're always so busy. We're so externally focused that we're now going internal because we have nowhere else to go sometimes, unless you're totally stuck into TV or, technology. But it's so wonderful just to walk outside in your yard, or I go for walks in my neighborhood, and, I'll talk to the trees and I'll talk to the animals. I'm communicating with the birds. And I love to connect that way, because then I feel so grounded and I feel so much more in my body. And that's what you talked about. Embodying all this is so important. And I think that's what we're learning, even though it's a hard learning that we're going through. It's not the most comfortable situation, but yet it's bringing out this gift of learning how to be embodying ourselves and how to be present in our body. So it's so connected to what your teaching is too. So it's so right on to what we're learning. And I think that's the gifts. That's part of the gift of what we're getting right now. What do you see as the gift of what's going on right now?
Yeah, good question. The gift of what we're in right now it's so big.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the changing of ages. There
Mm-hmm.
is light flooding onto the planet in a way that hasn't been before. Cosmically, my understanding is we are moving into a photon belt of light. I'm not an astronomer, but that's what I've heard. And I can feel, and I think so many of us can feel, the energy has shifted.
Oh,
People
yeah.
are waking up, people are opening, people are searching, people are becoming more conscious. There is more consciousness available to us now because our planet, the consciousness of our planet, Gaia, has ascended into a higher dimension of reality. And so we are like the physical being, the body that is moving up with her. So you can relate this to the ascension process for yourself. Maybe in your mind, you've already ascended. Maybe in your heart, you're already there, but maybe your body is still trying to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So we are on the body of the earth, and the earth is the body of Gaia, and Gaia has ascended her consciousness to a higher level. And so we must also ascend, or or we won't be compatible with
Mm-hmm.
her ascension. And so the opportunity is huge to open up into a higher frequency way of being
Mm-hmm.
here on the planet now. It's actually easier, I believe, than it's ever been, certainly in our lifetimes and probably in millennia of time. So there's a huge opportunity. And if you can just surrender resistance and surrender resistance and surrender resistance and keep doing that, then you're doing something great. And then once you start to, really feel attuned and aligned to the new frequencies by going out in nature is very helpful. Go out into the sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get out at sunrise and sunset and look at the sun setting and the sun rising, the best time to receive those frequencies into your eyes, and stop wearing sunglasses. Because it blocks. The sun is a
Yeah.
12th dimensional being of
Mm-hmm.
light sharing consciousness with us. I mean, it's just amazing what comes through the sun. And it's right there. It is an ascended light being in our sky with ascended consciousness, 12th dimensional consciousness of source energy that we can receive into our eyes. The sunglasses block that. So I used to be a lover of sunglasses, but
Mm-hmm.
ever since I learned this information, I have put them away, and I almost never wear them anymore. It only would be in extreme situations, because we need those frequencies in our eyes. And I'm not saying to go out at midday and stare at the sun. That's usually not a good idea. But even if you can't get out at sunrise and sunset, if you can go out in the sun with your eyes closed, or
Mm-hmm.
you can also look at the sun with your third eye while your eyes are looking down. You have to try it, and you'll get what I'm saying if you try it. If you use your third eye vision to look directly at the sun and your actual physical eyes to look down, you can receive just as much information from the sun. It will activate you, and you can ask the sun to activate your heart, to activate your pineal gland, to bring back your gifts, to help you align with the ascension that's happening. And then tune into like you did at the beginning, the center of the earth, the heart of the Mother Earth. The heart of the earth holds all of the galactic memories. They've been downloaded there, all of the earth memories, but also the star memories. So it's a great way to tune in and start receiving these energies. And you can also channel the sunlight into the heart of the Mother Earth and be a channel and an active helper that way for uplifting the frequency
Mm-hmm.
of everyone on the planet. And she's already raised her frequency, but her body is raising now. So we are all part of that body. I heard someone describe it like we're neurons, and we're activating each other. So even like
Mm-hmm.
this information, each speaker that you put on goes out to all. If we're all neurons, we're activating other neurons. So
Mm-hmm.
something, how neurons fire together, and that light is just traveling from neuron to neuron and activating within us. And that's the potential we have now more than ever before. We're all activating each other just by sharing these things.
Yes. Yes, that's why there's no more hiding. That's why it's time to come out and just everything that we've learned, and it's time to share. So, yeah, so true. So true. I understand. I love that. So, so I know you talked about in your book about integrating your twin flame, and that was such a cool part of your book. And so what is a twin flame, and how important is it to integrate that? Just maybe you want to talk a little about that before. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So there are a lot of different theories on twin flame out there. The way that I use the term twin flame is that there is another aspect of your soul that may or may not be incarnate here at this time. Either your twin flame's in a body or not. And for this process, that's not important whether or not your twin flame is in a body, whether or not you're partnered with them. So for most people, the twin flame energy, if I'm female, my twin flame would be male or vice versa. But I'm not sure that that's across the board. It's more about frequency.
Mm-hmm.
So just to say, I experience my twin flame as a male, a masculine energy. So I, I don't know how far down this rabbit hole you, you
You
want
don't
me.
know, whatever you want to share, whatever part you want to share that you feel is
Um,
kind of the essence of it, so people will understand a little bit more, because some
yeah,
people don't know what twin flames are.
yeah. So I kind of take away, and the Love You Crave, the book, is about finding that love within yourself and not needing to search for it in someone else. That's a key element, um, because the love you crave is within you.
Mm.
And once you realize that, you are integrated. So my realization experience of that was in the integration of the twin flame. It was something that I didn't know was going to happen. I had been on a journey, I'd done a lot of traveling, and I found myself camping in Mount Shasta. And I was having an experience of heart opening. I was having what I call a spiritual ecstasy. It actually it went on for days. So at some point in this unfolding that I was doing and my heart was opening, I saw the eyes of my twin flame. And I was in this experience, I was kind of in between realms. I wasn't exactly in the third dimension. So it was very, very, very real to me, but someone watching might have just seen me meditating,
Right. Right.
So just so you have some perspective on what's actually happening here, I'm having an internal experience of something very magnificent, very mystical. So my heart was in an opening experience, and my twin flame's eyes showed up, and I had seen him many, many, many times. I know those eyes very well, and he was there very present in front of me. I saw him and I just said, come to me, come to me. And he came to me in that he came into my heart and embodied me. And the experience I had, it wasn't like being possessed or taken over. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm whole again.
Mm-hmm.
It was an ecstatic experience, a blissful experience, but my heart, I felt him move into my heart, and my heart just expanded. It was if, I saw my heart having wings, and
Mm-hmm.
just it was this blissful unfolding into myself in a way that I had never experienced before. It was an integration of myself, as if half of me was missing and now it had returned. And I felt so full and full of love and full of freedom and I felt like, oh my gosh, I've never known freedom before this moment, because it felt so powerfully opening. And there aren't words, really, there aren't
Mm-hmm.
great words for it. But my heart I felt like it exploded into a million pieces. And the next thing was, after I integrated the twin flame, I saw a dagger like slice open my heart. And it was just this suddenly, I'm not bound by anything anymore. My love is no longer bound to anything, to this body. It's so much more than that. It became one with the divine in that moment, one with the divine integrated masculine, feminine energy aligned within me. And so it was pure rapture. It was so beautiful. And and it is ultimately what's going on there is a balance of divine masculine, divine feminine within, the integrating. It was a Kundalini rising experience for sure. And then just an opening, and talk about surrender. I mean, I surrendered and surrendered and surrendered in that experience, because some part of me would be like, I'm never going to be the same. And that's the ego clinging to, wait,
Yep.
this is not what I know, this is
Mm-hmm.
the unknown. And just the other part of me, the bigger part of me saying, it's okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
all okay. I'm just going to keep going with this. I like this.
Amazing. Yeah.
And just like calming that voice that says, no, don't go. I'm like, it's okay. It's all going to be okay. And so that for me was a huge heart opening experience. I have not felt lonely. I have not felt the desire. I mean, I certainly am open to partnership. I'm not in a partnership now, but I'm open to that, but I don't crave it. I
Mm-hmm.
found the love I crave, and it is the integration of that. Now, any relationship or, dating experience that I have is simply to be enjoyed. It's not trying to fulfill some need within me that's unfulfilled. It's like, oh, I can enjoy the experience of being with another person, and that's beautiful, but I don't need it. I don't have to have it to be whole.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really important transformation that a human can have, that will take you into, I feel like, spiritual maturation, instead, and also in relationships, instead of like coming into any relationship, whether it's with a lover or a parent or a child or a friend or whoever your relationships are with. um, I approach them differently now. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need anything from you. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need you to be a certain way to make me feel good. I just
Mm-hmm.
need to be me. And then it goes into, how can I contribute? How can I, because you become so overflowing with love that you just want other people to have it too. And so that's when I wrote my book, is shortly after that experience happened, because I just was overflowing with this energy, and I want other people to experience it too.
Wow, what an experience. That was so beautiful. Thank you, Waxela. Oh, amazing. And I mean, just I could feel the whole experience. It's almost like I was traveling with you. I mean, it was so beautifully told. I mean, your words were perfect for it. They really were. And it's like you've embodied that unconditional love that we're all aching to get, and we're all looking for the self-love. And that's been my whole premise for my show, is to embody your own self-love, because I think that's our ultimate journey, is to gain that wholeness that you've gained. And how beautiful is that, that you don't need anyone. And that's what I've always heard. When you feel that wholeness within you, you don't need anybody else. And how beautiful is that? And you just are whole in who you are. And that's what this whole journey is about, to be whole in who we are, to bring in all those aspects of ourselves and to make it all one, bringing down all our higher aspects, which is exactly what happened to you. So you've done your journey. Your journey is complete as far as that part, but of course you're still out there doing other parts. I mean, there's always more, of course, but you've embodied that now. And how beautiful. And that you can be a living example to tell people you can do this. This is powerful. It's so doable, even though you didn't know at the time it was going to happen, and you don't know. I've had experiences like that where I'm just sitting meditating, all of a sudden this energy just comes over me, and I'm like, whoa, what is this? And it was getting really hot, really hot. And I'm like, oh, this is starting to actually hurt. Can you be a little kinder here? But then it's like it's burning off all the old stuff and allowing the new. It's just an incredible experiences we can go through that we don't even know is going to happen. I mean, I didn't see that coming. I didn't even ask for it. It just happened. I was like, what is this? My whole body was on fire. And I'm like, wow, how do you even tell someone about that? Like you're saying, how do you tell them? But you did. And it's so beautiful to say, these are some of the things we can go through, that when we're willing and we surrender, that's surrendering, because resistance is so high in us. That is the hardest thing. I know I can have resistance myself off and on. It's like, okay, you've been going through these things, take the next step, take the next step. But then that ego comes in because it wants to keep you in the safe zone. And but then you got to just keep pushing through it. It's part of this journey. This is what, I know you mentioned something that someone said to you, that this is the agony of working through your shadow, working through the parts of you that you don't want to look at. And And those are the parts that's so important to look at those shadow parts. And once you do all that, so much opens up. Like you said, those experiences open up for you. It's powerful. Wow, what a journey.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure you've given a lot of people some ideas of, wow, what can I, this is something I want in my life. This is what I want, because look at what it does. I mean, you're at peace now. You're at total peace, right? Your life is peace. I mean, most of the time, I mean, when you're human,
Yeah, I
things,
am still human. I
yes,
will
you are.
say,
You're still human.
I definitely embody a higher level of peace, but I'm human. I'm going to have my stuff come up just like everybody else.
Yep. Yep.
There's a Buddhist saying, before enlightenment, chop the wood, carry the water. After enlightenment, chop the wood, carry the water. And I'm not
Absolutely.
saying I'm fully enlightened, but I'm still chopping the wood and carrying the water just
Yep.
like everybody else. I just have more tools now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's wonderful. So I know you said you feel the shifts going on. So these are some of the ways you help people with positive mindset. Anything else that you want to talk about with that kind of positive moving into the heart, whatever, ways you've been recommending to people? Anything else? And then we got a little more time for that. And would you like to share?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you want some specifics. I've talked about, like going into the sun and nature.
Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah.
The nature energy is so uplifting right now. And if you can get outside and ground your energy and step with
Mhm.
bare feet, on the earth, that is so empowering. I will say too, just the surrender piece is probably the biggest one. So when, like, for instance, you talked about that when you felt the burning, the intense energy. So when something like that, a mystical experience or an energetic experience starts to happen, it's a natural human reaction to go into fear. And this, I'm just like going a little deeper in this because it's really important to know if you want to have these experiences, when that starts to happen and when you start to move into that fear space, if something comes to you, while you're meditating or sleeping or whatever it is, and you're feeling this energy, maybe it's a tingling or a buzzing or a heat or a cold or a vision or whatever it is, you can feel the shift in energy. If you go into fear, don't judge yourself. See if you can incrementally just say, okay, I acknowledge that I have fear here. How can I surrender that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just breathe into it and let it go. And then you surrender a little more and open up a little more and invite the experience of whatever it is. Because for me, it's like, I know there's something here for me to receive. I can feel that. And I just want to unfold into it. So I'm like, I allow this and I invite this and I acknowledge my fear. That's okay. That fear is there to protect me. I'm going to breathe into it and let that go and allow the experience anyway. So you're not judging the fear and you're not judging what you're experiencing. You're being present with the fear. You're allowing it and you're releasing you, to whatever level. Maybe you can't release your fear. That's okay. You kind of just surrender into it and say, okay, what else do I need? And tell yourself you're okay, and then
Mm-hmm.
open up a little more and open up a little more. I had an experience. I wrote this in an email that I put out today, where it's when we're recording, it's full moon, and the full moonlight. I was sound asleep, and the full moonlight like came in, and I literally felt like the crown of my head was tingling, and I'm like, oh my gosh, something's here, and it was the moonlight. The moon came in and was basically, I felt like knocking on my head. And so I'm like, okay, this is interesting. What's going on? And I invited the moon into my heart, but then I felt my heart close. And I'm like, oh my gosh, why is my heart closing to the moon? It's such a beautiful full moon. It wants to interact with me. Why would I close off to that? And I went into contemplation. I didn't judge it. I just noticed it and asked myself in my heart, why are you closing to the moon? And my heart showed me, okay, well, you're holding on to some old programs about the dark side of the moon, about the moon. I've heard stories about the moon being inhabited by some negative entities. I've heard stories about, all kinds of stories. I don't, it's my choice whether I believe them or not. But my heart was showing me, you can't let the moon in as long as you have those programs in there. There's no room. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to let those programs go. I'm going to choose to let the moon interact with my heart here because that's a higher experience and I want that one. And so the moon came into my heart and showed me, I'm just reflecting the sun to you, and I know you trust the sun. And that light expanded in my heart, and the moon showed me a vision of a beautiful living moon, a moon that was alive and conscious and beaming consciousness to all of the life on Earth, and that all of the Earth life could share and interact in that consciousness and receive and upgrade and open and send that energy to the Earth, and the Earth could communicate, and the Earth had a BFF in the moon. The Earth's like, oh, like we were, the way I saw it is, this is how it used to be, and this is how it could be, and this is how it is right now in the vision that I was having. And so the Earth had a friend and a comrade in the moon, because the Earth's kind of, alone in her space. Her nearest neighbors are planets that are pretty far away, that are living, and so I just saw this whole interaction of the beauty of the possibility of the divine light being present in the moon. And so I made a choice. I'm like, I'm going to believe that. I'm going to believe in that possibility. And I sent that out to my list. These are the kinds of things I send out to my email list. And that went out this morning. And people are like, I saw that too, or I felt that too, or I'm going to envision that under the full moon, the living conscious moon. It's always a choice. So these are the kind of experiences that happen. And I would guess that many of you are having energies show up, or experiences or frequencies coming to interact with you. And so the trick there is just to allow and say, okay, how can I invite this experience, and be open to see what happens.
Oh, beautiful. Great. A great way to help people through this right now, and to help them to open up. I mean, that it helps me, because I think I did open, but I was a little fearful, but I was opening, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. This is going to work. I can do this. And I kept opening sort of like that. But this was a few years ago. So I remember and I did a drawing of it after. I'm like, I have to remember this moment, because it was so unusual. Like, you had your moment, and it was just so different. And I never told anyone about it. And one of my teachers, I do this group called the Magdalene Gathering, and she came up to me and goes, something happened, Janet. And I went, oh, you could see this? And she's like, I can see this. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So that was so interesting that she saw it. And I'm like, okay. So, these things are real. They really are. So when you embody it, like you're saying, and to allow it through, it makes such a difference in your life when you allow it through. So thank you so much for everything you've shared today. And I know that you, I have one more question, and that is, what do you see happening? Do you have any ideas or any messages for our audience for the rest of 2020? Anything that you think is, that's probably a big one, because it's hard to see that right now.
Well, I'm not going to say what's going to happen with the physical, Earth.
Right,
Things are
right.
happening. I don't negate anybody's experience, but really, I don't think it's the end of intense experiences on the planet. I think that is it's something that's going to happen as the Earth is shifting and moving up in frequency. It's like, you can think of it like a detox in your body. When you're detoxing, stuff gets a little uncomfortable for several days, depending on how long and how toxic you are. So, those things are going to happen. And I want to be compassionate about that, but don't go into alliance with the negativity. If you can keep your head out of the chaos, it's always a choice what you choose to experience, or how you choose to be with the experience. Your perception is going to bring your experience back to you as well. So if you're dwelling in, the bad news, the negativity, it's going to keep showing up for you. That doesn't mean to be uncompassionate. I don't ever want to tell anyone, ignore it. I'm not saying ignore it. I'm saying be compassionate, and choose the highest frequency that you have available to you in that moment. Like, don't choose to dwell on the chaos and the negativity. If someone invites you down a negative path to commiserate, invite them to a higher path, to be an ally, to bring them up, to bring lightness to their heart, and just see how that goes. Because I think, I don't think we're done with the craziness,
Yeah.
but we can always choose how we behave within it. So go into your heart of service, and in any situation say, how can I best serve here? How can I be a contribution and contribute to the higher mind and the uplifting experience that people need so much, rather than contributing to the negativity.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I do agree with that. I really do, because I've been, just listening to things, but also just seeing that we don't know. We don't know. And yet just keep the higher perspective is really the way to go, because it helps us have some peace in our life. Plus it keeps your immune system up as well. When you're going down that other road, your immune system will go down because it brings in that negativity. So yes, that's a beautiful message. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I know that you have a wonderful gift for the audience, which I'd love you to share. Would you like to?
Yes,
You have a
absolutely.
couple. Yes.
Yeah, I do. I have two free gifts. So I already mentioned one of them. So the first one is called, it's a master class. I do master classes from time to time. It's called Clearing the Lack Matrix, Activating Self-Worth and Wealth.
Hmm.
So it is first a lecture and then an activation. It's like a meditation where I am channeling frequencies, ascension frequencies, basically to help you release any blocks in the way of your prosperity, in the way of your worthiness, your self-worth, any blocks in the way of owning your spiritual gifts. And it just helps you open up and release any of those blocks. I channel from source energy. So people can receive that. It's not me as the
Hmm.
ego me. It's the source
Hmm.
energy that comes through and does that activation. And then there are question and answers at the end that are kind of fun. And then the second part is the releasing the attachments and collecting soul fragments back.
Hmm.
So that's an audio that you listen to. The first one's video, the second one's audio. You listen to it with headphones, and you can kind of learn this process so that you don't need to do it with the headphones. But if you're a light worker practitioner, you can actually use that audio, give you free use of it, use it with your clients. If you have a client who comes and says, I don't know, I'm just not myself, I don't feel right, something's wrong, maybe they've picked up an attachment, and you can put the headphones on them and have them just listen. It's about, I think, 16 minutes or something like
Hmm.
that. And it's a release and then a collecting back of your own energy. So those are my free gifts.
Beautiful. Thank you. Those are wonderful. And I know you have another gift that you're sharing that's really powerful. And it's a paid offer, but we'd love to hear about it, because it's important for people. You have time now, and this is the time to do these kinds of things. When else will we have these times? Sometimes, hopefully life will stay a little quieter when things pick up. But go ahead, tell us the rest of it.
Yeah, so I tuned in when you said we could make an offer. I decided to just ask my guidance what would serve in the highest way for this group at this time. So this is specifically for your listeners, Janet.
Thank you.
And so what it is, it's $88, and it is a master class. A master class is a $197 value. So you're even for the first one, it's a great deal. It's called Activating the Memories of Your Galactic Origins.
Mm.
And the divine gave me this to share. Like, I'm like, okay, what do I offer? It's activating the memories of your galactic origins.
Mm.
So it's an activation to help you remember where you came from as a star seed, your galactic origins. We all have origins off planet, and certainly we are very much tied to the earth here and in tune with the earth, but so many of us remember, we have little glimpses of memories or knowingness that we were from somewhere else before. And I can tell you, you're not from just one place. You're not from just the earth. You're not from just one star. You probably have many, many, many galactic origins that once you tune in and open up to the remembering of where you came from, you can receive information, you can receive ascension frequencies, you can receive soul codes, you receive activations from your star system, from your star family,
Mm-hmm.
and it just opens up this whole new world of receiving higher and higher levels of ascended frequencies and collecting soul fragments. So that's the first part of that, and then I decided, oh, wow, there's more. I was just tuning in right before our call, and I'm like, we're going to do a follow-up. So there's actually 2 master classes. The follow-up is amplifying the connection. So in the first one, you get that connection. Things are going to start opening up for you. You'll start getting memories. You'll start getting glimpses. If you're already someone who remembers, great. You'll get more memories activated. Doesn't matter what level you're at. If you're already a conscious remembering of your galactic origins, you'll just open it up bigger and remember more. So in the follow-up, it's all about amplifying that connection, connecting to your origins, connecting to your ascension guides, connecting to that divine energy within you, and just continuing that amplification. And then I'll do more question and answer after you've had some practice. So 2 classes, 2 master classes for $88. I've never done that before, and I just wanted to give something really special to your viewers. So
Ah,
that's my offer.
beautiful. Thank you so much for that, Waxela. And I hope that you take advantage of that, because that's a really special gift, because that's what we're meant to be bringing in, all the rememberings of who we are. And that's part of this work that we're doing, to bringing in our higher consciousness. So what a perfect gift. Thank you. And I know I have a lot of galactic connections. So they keep coming in, keep getting aware. And I always want to thank our listeners for coming on and be part of the show. And please share your comments, your takeaways, any kind of ahas you've gotten. Share us at theownyourdivinelight@gmail.com. And we love hearing from you. And I always answer you personally whenever you send me an email. I've been doing that all the time. And Waxela, thank you so much for letting your divine light shine so brightly, and through all your book, your teachings, and supporting people and accelerating their divine light, and helping them unlock their passions, ignite their authenticity, and helping them live through their living and learning about their soul purpose and creating the life they love. So I am Janet Miller, and I will see you on the next episode.